I turned 55 and God dropped a perspective on me that I just couldn't shake. It was not a slow realization either. It was not something that I just figured out over time. It was sudden. It was clear. It was unmistakable. I just, of exactly how much time I had left to retire. And it didn't feel like a motivational moment. It felt kind of like a deadline, a warning. I have a hard date, November 1st, 2027. And by that date, I need a revenue stream of at least $4,000 a month and growing. That's not a goal. That's a non-negotiable. And right now I'm building this business and a revenue stream in about 4 to 6 hours a week, while I am also working a 50+ hour a week job that I don't draw a salary from. So when people ask me how I'm doing it, here's the real answer. I'm not actually doing more. I'm doing less strategically. And that's what this video is all about. Every business video tells you what to add. Add this habit, add this routine, add this platform, add this strategy, add this expense, add. But nobody really talks about what has to go. Like at our age, we don't have the margin to just pile more on top of an already full life. We can't just get up and work an extra couple hours every single morning. We're not 25 with empty calendars. We are 55 with decades of accumulated habits and routines and obligations. We've got kids, we've got parents, we've got work. And here's what I know about you if you're watching this. You're not looking for a permission slip to do less. You're looking for a way to do what matters without losing everything else. So today I'm going to walk you through the same audit that I ran on my own life a few months ago to find what's quietly draining your time, draining your energy, and draining or stealing your money. 3 areas. And I'm not going to hand you a framework and just send you off to figure it out all on your own. I'm going to show you exactly what I found when I ran it on mine, including what happened after I made the changes, because it's easy to start and talk about the changes, but afterwards, that part matters too. So let's start with the one that hit me the hardest. You have a finite number of hours before retirement, and it's not a vague someday. It's an actual date. Whether you've named that date or not, it's a date. Mine is November 1st, 2027. And here's how I landed on that specific date. I work at a professional regional theater in marketing and development, and I help in operations. My husband actually happens to be the executive artistic director, and 2027 is the theater's 60th anniversary. I wanted to see that through. I wanted to leave that organization and my husband in a very strong position, not disappear in the middle of something that matters to both of us. So I picked the date that honored all of that, and then I made it a non-negotiable. Because here's what happened before I had a hard date. The last few years, it's always been nebulous. Nothing ever slows down. Everything just keeps going and going and going. And I kept telling myself that I had more time. And every year I told myself that eventually I'd have more time. And another year would pass and I would say the same thing. And the reality is that a moving target is not a deadline. It's just a very comfortable way to feel like you're planning without ever actually committing. So once I named the date, like really named it, everything about how I looked at my time changed. It was eye-opening. I stopped asking, can I do more? And I started asking, what is quietly running out my clock? So for me, the actual first answer to that question was unstructured work time. For years, I would sit down to work on my business, and I spend half the time figuring out what to work on. And then I'd bounce between tasks, and then I'd get frustrated and I would quit early. Weeks turned into months, months turned into years. Same patterns, no real progress, nothing actually built. And here's what I finally saw clearly. I was catering to how I felt. I felt like doing one thing, I did that. If I didn't feel like doing the hard thing, I found something easier that still felt productive. I called it flexibility. And what it actually was me waving goodbye to those hours. I was going with the flow. I mean, I'm exhausted from working, but I was going with the flow. Going with the flow got me to 55 years old with no retirement savings. The flow doesn't care about your retirement. So I gave up the luxury of sitting down without a plan. So every session now, whether it's 45 minutes or 3 hours, I know my exact next action before I open my laptop. 0 time deciding. Every minute goes towards building. That shift didn't give me more hours. However, it stopped the bleeding. The time was always there. I was just spending it on circling instead of building. So here's what to look for in your own life. Where are you repeatedly spending time that produces no forward movement? And I'm not talking about rest. Rest is productive and unnecessary. But I mean the sessions that end with nothing built and you leave with a vague sense of frustration. That's a leak. And it's completely fixable. And I know you're probably thinking you'll come back to this later. I want to make sure later actually happens for you. So every video that I publish comes with the breakdown already done. And your next step is just waiting for you. So when you're ready, it's there. The link is in the description, or you can use the QR code on your screen. Let's do this. Now, here's the thing. Time isn't the only resource that's running out without you noticing. I don't know about you, but my energy, yeah, you cannot build something that's going to fund the next 20 to 40 years of your life if you don't have the energy to show up for it. I know that sounds obvious, but this is the connection that most people don't actually make. They keep their health completely separate from their business, right? It is not separate. It's actually the foundation where everything else sits on. At 30, you can run on caffeine and 5 hours of sleep. And at 55, that's a recipe for quitting by week 3 or week 2, if you're me. I'm already asking my 55-year-old body to run a 50+ hour a week organization and build a business on top of that. The least I can do is treat that body like the business investment it actually is. Here's what drives me crazy about how we handle this as a culture. When we're not functioning well, when we're exhausted, when we're foggy, when we're running on empty, what do we reach for? The caffeine. Maybe the cold shower, the supplements, the hack of the month. We reach for those because we think they're easier. They feel quick and they feel like action, like they don't require anything hard from us. The real fixes are boring. The real fixes are eat better, avoid alcohol, sleep more, move your body. 4 things. That's it. And they actually work, but we skip them for the hack because the hack doesn't require us to actually change anything because that, it just lets us feel like we tried. So in the interest of full transparency, here's exactly where I am with each of these 4 things right now, because I'm not up here telling you I've got this all figured out. Eating well, I'm on a really good track right now. I'm losing the weight that I've gained over these past few years, and I'm feeling good. My energy is good. Avoiding alcohol, I'm really succeeding in that one. That one was a no-brainer the minute I hit perimenopause, because I knew that eliminating the alcohol would also eliminate the bulk of the symptoms. My hot flashes, gone. My night sweats, gone. The brain fog, gone. Now, sleep, I'm actively working on this one. Sleep is the best healer on earth for your body, for your brain, and getting good deep sleep should be your number 1 priority. I'm working on that one. Movement. I'm going to be straight with you. This is the one I'm currently very passively working on. I'm nailing the eating and the sleep right now. Movement is coming. It is my intention to start resistance training with a trainer this year and just to move more in general. I've got some ideas and plans. I'm in this work with you. I'm not ahead of you, but here's why it matters for the audit. Every habit that drains your energy is quietly stealing capacity from your business. A depleted woman doesn't build. She survives. Barely. And surviving doesn't fund your retirement. So look honestly at your daily habits. What is costing you energy that you can't afford to lose? Not the things that recharge you. Those stay. The things that drain you and give nothing back. Those are the ones to put on the table and to consider eliminating. Now let's look at the third place that this same pattern shows up, because it runs on exactly the same logic as time, just in a different form. This one's hard. It's your money. Untracked money disappears the same way untracked time does. Not in one dramatic moment, in a slow and visible leak that you don't notice until you finally add it up. I'm not talking about the big expenses. I'm talking about the $7 coffee or the impulsive Amazon order or the subscription that you forgot you had. And those last two, those are me. None of those are bad on their own. I mean, untracked, they do add up to hundreds a month that it just disappears. Poof. The same way an unplanned work session disappears. The median retirement savings for women ages 55 to 64 is $57,000. That's the median, and half of us have less than that, which means that every dollar is doing one of two things right now. One, it's building your future, or it is funding your past habits. There is no neutral. I gave up spending without thinking. So every dollar now has a job. I know where it's going and why, including the dollars going toward building this business. What I want you to look at honestly is, where is money leaving without you noticing? The things that kind of leave on autopilot, maybe out of habit or out of convenience, out of just not paying attention. Those are your audit. So now, before I give you my full list, I want to hear yours. Run the audit right now, just in your head, really fast. Time, energy, money. What is one thing that just kind of pops out at you that you already know isn't serving you anymore? Would you be willing to drop that in the comments? You don't have to give it up today. Just name it and share it with us. That's the first step. And I want to tell you something about those three things that I gave up, because I gave them up makes it sound cleaner than it actually is. I'm a few weeks and months into these changes right now, and I want to give you the honest report, not the highlight reel that you see on Instagram. The first week or two, easier than I expected. The decision was fresh. The motivation was high. I could see the point of it. But then the messy middle showed up. Software issues. Tech problems. I had a lot of those. Things eating into the time that I'd carved out. Things I didn't cause and couldn't control. Meetings and events with food I wasn't planning for. Not a crisis, just the kind of thing that quietly chips away at the energy foundation that I'd been building. And the pull towards things that I genuinely needed, a tool that would help, a book that I wanted in physical copy. Not necessarily impulse spending, like real decisions about real dollars that I'd committed to tracking. The frustration of watching your carefully protected time and energy and money just get pressured from every direction, chopped at from every direction by things that have nothing to do with your effort or your discipline. Those are the moments that have stopped me before. So here's what I want you to understand about the messy middle. I hope this helps you. It doesn't just test your resolve. It actually demands more than you budgeted for. Maybe more hours than you planned. More patience than you thought you had. That's the big one. More pushing through than seems fair. And this is exactly where I've failed before. Not in the decision, and not even in the first 2 weeks, but on the random Tuesday, 3 weeks later, when it's harder than it was and I'm doing it anyway. That's the part that nobody puts in the video. The part where you've already given things up and the reward hasn't arrived yet, and life is still throwing things at you that just, and you keep going. That's not a sign that you made the wrong decision. That's what building actually looks like. So when you run this audit and you name the thing that you're willing to give up, I want you to go in knowing that the first week might feel like relief and the third week might feel like a fight, a battle. But the fight is worth the work. The fight is worth it. Not the exception to it. And here's the thing I almost didn't say, because I know some of you are watching this and thinking, I know all of this already, Christina. Knowing has never been my problem. I hear you. And I want to say something real about that. When we know exactly what we need to give up and we still don't give it up, when we can name the leak and we still let it run, it's because we don't want the result enough to make the change. I know that's hard to hear because we think we want it. We watch videos about it. We talk about it. We tell ourselves we're working on it. We're trying, but wanting it and wanting it enough to do the boring, consistent, unglamorous work of actually building it, those are two completely different things. That was true for me for a long time, longer than I really want to admit. And what finally changed it wasn't a better system. It wasn't a productivity hack. It was God dropping that perspective on me on my 55th birthday that I couldn't unfeel. The audit isn't what changes you. Deciding that you want this more than you want the comfort of what isn't working, that's what changes you. If you're still watching and you've made it to the end of this video, I want you to go watch the next one, because this video was about what to clear out. This video is about what you're building toward, and you need both. And it's linked on the screen right now. I encourage you to dare yourself to flourish in this season of life.